from Tailevu North College, and we saw that due to a tornado in 2020, April 2020, 2 classroom blocks were destroyed and had to be rebuilt. Up to today, it's not rebuilt. So I'll start off with the government, because they said now that Embassy of Japan has said they will rebuild. It's been 6 years in the waiting, and right now the tents have been given for our students to study in the tents. Why has it taken so long?
Good question. Well, there's really no excuse. What we had tried to do was get the funding organized, but just because of other competing priorities, those took priority over this one. But work continues to try and get it done for this financial year, and I'm sure the provincial, divisional planning officer, who's now here.
Anyone from Ministry of Education here as well?
Maybe the Minister of Education should answer this, but let me just make this comment, Vijay, that when we came in, there were several schools, particularly in Banua Lebu after Cyclone Yasa, needed to be built, and in the last 3 years, we have built a significant number of schools damaged by Cyclone Yasa. Some were left over from Cyclone Winston days. And perhaps, the Minister of Education, and education has been allocated consistently over the last 3 years, a very, very significant amount of budget, and a good component of that also has been for infrastructure. So I hope the Ministry of Education people will take this on and not delay it anymore.
The leader of opposition, the previous government was still in power when this happened. Why did not the previous government take any action on this?
After the assessments were made, government sought the assistance of the Japanese government, JICA. This is for the rehabilitation of Cyclone Winston and Cyclone Harold as well. Unfortunately, Tailevu North, they had a few other blocks as well that has been fixed, but not this one, because this was sort of vocational, and they had their gym and some other things in there as well. So what the Ministry of Education did was it prioritized the need in the school. And unfortunately, this building was left out. It was not in the list. Again, the prioritization was made then, and this was sort of the lower priority in terms of all the other requests that were put into the ministry, and of course including Tailevu North as well, because there were other buildings that were fixed as well.
I think we tend to forget that after Cyclone Winston until 2022, $250 million were spent in rebuilding schools around the country, because Cyclone Winston had actually destroyed a number of schools. So that had to be done, and then in 2020, the funds were allocated, but it had to be redeployed because of the COVID. And also the restrictions, etc., made it a bit slow in terms of serving those schools that were damaged, not only by what you have just said in 2020, but by other cyclones that came along. So it was a question of prioritizing.
We have competing priorities, but those children, the tents are there ready for them. We saw them studying in the sun today, and it's been 6 years. That's a reality. We can talk about competing priorities, but that's the reality, and I'm glad government is saying in this financial year something will be done. The Japanese government has given the funding for the rebuilding of 2 classroom blocks. It wasn't just the gym, they're actually classroom blocks, and the whole had to be changed into an actual classroom, and some of the classes are studying in those tents now.
And the schools were all closed.
The fact remains about what it is today.
So the children were all at home.
We can talk about it all night. But
Yeah, the children were all at home. And then, as Honorable Leader had just mentioned, that the priority was done where the classrooms were fixed. This area that was damaged was the recreational area.
There were 2 classroom blocks which we saw today that was clearly pointed out by the officials. Thank you. On to the next question.